Hello students, I have made this video for all the students who are looking forward to an answer for where to start the research, on what topic to research. So for all those students, I am addressing to them. First, you should know what is your area of interest. So this is how we start looking for a topic. So different students might be interested in different areas. For instance, somebody might be interested only in assessments of the patient. Somebody might be more interested in treatment of the patients. Similarly, whether you are more interested in cardiothoracic patients or neurology patients or orthopedic related issues. So first thing is that you look forward to your area of interest. The next step would be you have to converge your interest to a specific aspect. What I mean is, once you have chosen your area of interest, again it is a very broader thing. So from that area of interest, you got to narrow down your thinking, converge onto something very specific. Now in that specific area of your interest, specific aspect of it, you have to look or delve into the literature. Now, the most commonest way to do so is that you look forward to some previous 5 years or 10 years published articles related to your specific aspect in your area of interest. Okay, so you read those articles from point A to Z, complete thorough reading of those articles, and you look for a gap wherein they say that this published material has this particular limitation. So we are looking for the gap. This gap is what gives you your topic of research. Again, let me repeat. First, you chalk down your area of interest, then be a little more specific. The more specific you keep on becoming, the more closer you come to your topic. And the next is you read the literature for last 5 years, 2 years, 10 years, depending upon your capacity. And what we are looking for is a gap. We call it gap analysis. So you are basically looking for all kinds of limitations that you read in those articles. Okay, that's what gives you your research area to begin with. The next common thing that the students ask me is about the survey. Very frequently I have been asked about surveys. So survey is a very easy method of doing the research because you are collecting information from a large number of people, and that too it is easy because you have made a questionnaire and you circulate those questionnaire among those people. They will give you the answers and based on that you do your analysis. So it is the most easier way to do it, but you got to keep certain things in mind while you do this survey research. First one is about your questions. What questions you are going to frame. See, it's always better to have, themes or sections. So whatever survey you want to do on whichever set of the patients you want to do it, try to analyze what you want to know, what information you actually are looking forward to gather from them, and then chuck those questions into different sections like demographic. That is the usual introductory part, but then later on the questions on the whats and the whys and the hows and whens, they can have different sections onto it. Then each section should have few number of questions. Again, when you're formulating a questionnaire, make sure that you have a choice of putting in close ended or open ended questions. But in open ended, let me tell you that the respondent is going to just answer from any which where, because it's an open ended. Then it will be difficult for you to do the analysis later on. So better is that you go for close-ended questions. Again, your questions should not be leading them to certain answers. It should be very objective. Let the respondent give their own opinion the way they want to. Okay? And then once you formulate the questions, look into the questionnaire that you want to use. Those questions should be a standard thing. So make a theme, make sections, use standard questions, use close-ended questions. Wherein required, you go for open-ended, but do keep in mind about the analysis part later on. Then once this is done, the another question that the students ask very frequently is about the sample size. I keep telling all of you that sample size in the survey is not according to your whim, according to your choice. It is always calculated using a set formula. Let me take you all through this formula today. It's a very, very simple formula to be used. So n is the number of our sample size that we are looking forward, and this is for the survey. Okay, so survey method, n is what we are interested in, how many people we should be targeting in the survey. So the formula is r plus 1 brackets z alpha upon 2 plus z 1 minus beta bracket closed sigma upon r into d square. I want all the students to please note down this is the formula that you use to calculate the sample size in case you are doing a survey method in your research. So how do we put in the values here? Now r is usually taken as 1 and your sigma is basically difference in standard deviation. Difference in standard deviation. And this d is difference in means, value of means. Okay. Now we know that z alpha by 2 is 0.38 and z 1 minus beta is 1.96. Okay, this value z alpha upon 2 we know is 0.38 and z alpha 1 minus beta is equal to 1.96. So when we put these values inside this equation, all we have to look forward for is this difference in standard deviation and difference in mean. Rest all the values you can straight away put because we know them for sure. Okay, so how do we get these two values? This is the real question where the students are actually stuck up. And let me clear this. So whatever survey you are doing on, you have your mother article, a previous study that you have started looking from. So that article you will choose and you will look for the outcome measure, a typical outcome measure that you also have taken up in your study, and in that outcome measure you will look for the pre and post values of experimental group. This is important. Okay, so from the experimental group we pick up the pre and the post, we subtract the means and we'll get the d square value, we subtract the standard deviations and we get the sigma value, and then we put it in this formula. So that's exactly how you will get your sample size. Now I hope this video must have helped you. Do keep this thing in mind. So your previous article, your mother article, the major outcome measure that you are looking for and you want to carry it in your research as well, that outcome measure you will choose. And if it is an RCT, there will be an experimental group, there will be a control group. So you look for the experimental group. Out of that, you're going to subtract the pre and the post values. So some value plus minus standard deviation will be written in the pre and in the post. Okay, again plus minus standard deviation, and there will be a chart. Okay, in your mother article, look for these values. So you subtract these two, you get d square. You subtract these two, you get your sigma value. Put it in this formula, and that's how we calculate the sample size for the survey. Thank you.